Hi and welcome to my channel. In this video will be two parts. In the second part I will swatch this interesting set of acrylic paints. But in the first part I want to answer two very good questions which I got after I published my first video about using acrylic paints for beginners in coloring book, and one lovely lady asked me, what's better, to purchase a starter set of acrylic paints or to purchase paints individually? And once again, it's a great question. So far, I own a couple of primary sets. One of them is of student grade and one of them is professional, and in both sets we have a very nice variety of colors and they are indeed perfect for painters. If you want to paint or if you decide to use acrylic paints as your primary medium for coloring, yeah, it's a great selection of color. But if you want to start using acrylic from simply doing backgrounds or using them as a secondary medium, I wouldn't say that it's wise to start from purchasing the full set. First, you obviously will need a white paint, and I recommend to purchase titanium white acrylic because it's opaque. Also, I highly recommend to purchase black acrylic. I believe that these two paints is a must-have even for beginner colorists. My black acrylic is very helpful in doing nice and plain black backgrounds, and even if I use a very cheap Ukrainian paint, I always able to do background without visible strokes, and I really love density of color. I also love to use pencil on top of the black acrylic background. It looks very nice, so I highly recommend to purchase at least white and black. Also, I would recommend to purchase natural looking green. Green background is very helpful in many coloring books. You can do simple green background, for example in Maria Trolle. But look which greens I got in my big sets. They are not very natural looking, they are too bright. I don't use any of the green paints which I got in sets, and instead I purchased acrylic paint from Amsterdam, and it's olive green deep, but you can purchase opaque green from any available manufacturer. Just look at really nice natural color, not everything over bright. You can see that I did green background here, and I really much more prefer this deep green color. It looks much better than over bright yellow-green colors. I also try to look at opacity of each paint because sometimes I saw beautiful shade of green but paint was transparent, so not very suitable for the backgrounds, and in the end I managed to find this paint from Amsterdam, and I got this one from Turner. But as I said, the brand isn't important. It's important that you like the shade of green. Next color I would highly recommend to purchase is indigo or Prussian blue or Payne's gray. Again, it depends from the available for you brand of acrylic paints. You can see how beautiful looks dark blue background. It's the easiest way of doing night sky or simply to do beautiful dark background. In my opinion, dark background always help picture to pop up and the main object to shine on the page, so I highly recommend to purchase one opaque dark blue paint. Another helpful color is pale pastel blue or gray blue, like I used here. It's grey blue from Amsterdam. I also love pastel blue from Turner. If you purchase pale blue, you will be able to do beautiful day sky, to mix it with white and to get nice shades for painting snow. And again, pale blue is a very versatile color. I think that it will suit many pictures and it will help you to do simple but beautiful background. In the beginning, I went to the shop and I just purchased tubes of paints which look beautiful, like I purchased beautiful golden yellow from Amsterdam, and indeed it looks very beautiful on the paper, but it's not very helpful for coloring. I can use this beautiful color just couple of times in the year, for example, to paint pumpkin. And in the end, much more helpful were not so beautiful colors like gray or brown, which I can use multiple times, especially for coloring food. So if you like to color animals, such gray or brown paints will be very helpful to draw individual strands of fur and to make your animal more fluffy. And I quite often use acrylic paint on the last step after I finish to color animal with colored pencils. I use my pastel and dark, slightly dull color much more often than I use my bright acrylics. Next, if you're quite adventurous, you can try to use acrylics for coloring faces, at least for covering black lines, just like I did here for my recent coloring. I mixed these pastel colors with white and I got a skin tone. I mixed my skin tone from this Naples yellow red light, rose pink, but as I said, just look at the swatch of the brand which is available for you and select color which is closest to the skin tone. List of my favorite colors I will leave in the info box. And the last thing which I want to mention and which I highly recommend to purchase is metallic acrylic paints like gold, copper, bronze, and I believe that it's possible to find quite a good opaque and bright and shiny paints even on quite budget prices. A lot of craft manufacturers produce metallic acrylic paints and they are really very helpful to add some shiny elements just like I did here. So when I analyze all my available acrylic paints, I discovered that I don't use quite often very bright colors and I prefer to use pastel or really dark colors. I hope that if I will manage to use acrylic paints more and to color with them more, I will be able to use my full supplies of acrylic paints. And now I want to show you this beautiful set of acrylic paints. Fun thing is that I recorded this unboxing of paints more than a year ago when I purchased them. And I was so lazy that yet I hadn't published swatching or review. But I'm even happy for that now because after a year of using them, I can confirm my first opinion and I am really happy about this purchase. It was quite a spontaneous purchase. I saw this set on Amazon USA and I was attracted to the picture on the package and to the idea of having 12 slightly dull muted colors. I love this idea of muted colors, they look very natural, and as a beginner, I don't know how to mix by myself such muted colors. When I tried to add a little bit of black to acrylic paints, they looked muddy, not very beautiful, so I decided that I need to purchase this set. I wanted to try it. In the beginning, I was quite skeptical because paints don't have any information about manufacture apart from that they are produced in China. They also don't have any information about opacity, light fastness, or pigments inside of the paint. So I was sure that it will be a huge disappointment. But when I got the set, first I really liked package, then I liked quality of the tubes. They are metal, they are easily opened. I love that their caps are never stick to the tube, so they are very easy to open and close. And they are relatively big. 21 millimeter is quite enough of paint for me. I think that with my amount of paint which I use for my coloring, it will serve me for a long time if it won't dry before. So I made this swatching and I made this special black line to discover opacity, and again I was very happy. Paints were fresh, creamy, and had very nice texture. They lay down on the paper with opaque layer and without visible brush strokes, so I was quite happy with the coverage. And they covered black line very nicely. I like selection of color in the set. They have blue gray, brown gray, cold gray, warm gray, green gray, mid gray, pale gray, orange gray, red gray, yellow gray. The one which I wasn't a little bit disappointed is Payne's gray because it looked like simple black, and I prefer Payne's gray with slightly bluish tint, but I can easily add a drop of blue paint into it and to get a nice beautiful shade. My favorite in the set is violet gray. As I say, I really love that colors are very natural looking and muted. I think that they are perfect for landscapes. Now you can watch my swatching for a couple of minutes and then I will share with you in which coloring books I want to use these paints. I also forgot to mention that paints don't have any smell, nothing unpleasant, so also nothing to worry about. So this was an example of purchase when you don't expect much from this no name, no brand product and you think that such a product can't be of high quality and in the end after testing you get a very pleasant surprise. And again I was very happy. For now I mostly used these paints when I needed to add last layers when I colored full, but I really plan to use them more, especially for coloring pictures with landscapes. And when I purchased them, I had in mind this coloring book dedicated to the Game of Thrones, where we have a lot of landscapes, a lot of castles, and I thought that these colors will be perfect for buildings, for stone, for grass. Paper isn't very suitable for watercolors, and as pictures are double-sided and book is huge, I think that acrylic will be perfect solution for coloring such a huge landscapes. I also think that these paints will be nice for doing backgrounds for some of the pictures in Zan von Zed book. But most of all, I want to use them for coloring pictures by Jody Bergsma. I think that such muted colors will be perfect for coloring her pictures with animals and Norse nature. And the last book where I really plan to use them is this book dedicated to Sherlock. Paper in Ukrainian edition isn't very thick, so not suitable for watercolors, and I hope that these acrylic paints will help me to color these pictures. I think that for London city scenes, muted colors of this set will be just perfect. I thank you for watching. I really wanted to share with you that even a purchase of no-name paints from unknown brand could be a very successful purchase and I am really happy with my set. I hope that I managed to answer question about which colors are most helpful for the beginner colorist. I hope that all purchases of your art supplies also won't be disappointing and will bring you joy and will be very helpful in coloring. Thanks for watching and until the next videos.